That's looking good. Let's get a timestamp going for the chat. So today, consulting sources will do Lost Coast first. Oh, well, that looks nice, doesn't it? Does this have commentary too? It does? What do you mean? Okay, I didn't think it was going to be that elaborate. The desktop should be working, right? Hold on a minute. Yeah, it's looking good. Okay, that's good. That's good. I forgot if... I feel like something's nagging at me that I want commentary for this. But fuck it, we're going to take in the sights. Don't know if this will be the whole session or not, but it could be. And then we will pivot if it's... depending on the length. We'll pivot to the commentaries. Just making sure everything's good. Oh, I'm Gordon. With everything. You can't kill me. You can't kill me. You killed me. Well, that's a fantastic start.
Nothing sadder than an empty trap ball.
Who are you?
At least it ate most of the crab.
Have something to say about this too?
Hey! You there? Wait a minute now, aren't you? You are. You're that scientist chap, Friedman, Fishman, am I right? You must be here to take on the Combine. Not sure what one man can do, but no other reason to visit St. Olga at a time like this. I'll take you to where they made their base, or as far as I can, at any rate.
Thank you, buddy. Nice spirit.
Here, now, let me just unlock this gate for you.
How are you moving through the...
Got the key right here.
Oh, he dropped it.
There we go. Get along now, laddie. Destroy that gun and no dawdling.
Alright, Lassie.
Hurry, lad, get up the path.
Can I stick this in the wall? Ooh.
Get along now, laddie. Destroy that gun and no dawdling.
Tell me about yourself.
Get going.
Wow, what the fuck? Even here. Even here. No scenic route.
Go on through, lad. There's a path up the cliff. Step lightly now. If you make it back safely, I'll be here waiting for you.
Oh, okay. As long as you'll be waiting for me. Come on.
Go on through, lad.
Come on. I want the boat to protect our friend, the captain.
If you make it back safely, I'll be here waiting for you.
Stay afloat. No. I'm on vacation right now, so we get some early sessions this week. Hello, Yuki.
There's a path up the cliff. Step lightly now.
It is temporary for sure. Anything up here? No. Well, I always like a coastal town. This one seems a bit more formerly populated than the random ass houses in the main game. Oh, hi. Can I get a double? Hold on, buddy. No, I wanted to stealth him. Oh, that's it. That's it. That's the stuff right there. That's what we call a twofer. Okay, can I do it with this? No. I'm not good enough at the very least. Alright, we're quick saving every 5 seconds. Are there achievements? No, there's not. Why would there be? There's a ladder down here. There's death down here. Oh, there's health. There's ammo. We don't need the health because we're so good. Oh, is this supposed to be the way we're supposed to go? No, it's just a nice little alcove. But what if I just rode the coast? We don't need to go up there. Oh, this is not the episode 2 flashlight. God. Does that mean this came up before episode 2? You really can just do that. Alright. The real question, though, are we meant to be down here? I'm guessing no. At least not yet. Just a hunch. Oh, that's trippy. Oh, that's so trippy. Yes, thank you. I will spend it playing video games. And among other things, but... yeah. Hopefully I'll catch up on some stuff that I've been way behind on. Maybe some reading. Maybe some watching, even. It would be... no. I'm thinking about the playthroughs I still gotta watch and catch up on. Maybe not. Damn. It's interesting... I'm sure I said this before, but it's interesting to consider when you have your final level layouts and what gets modeled behind the seams. Because, like, if you wanted to min-max enough, you wouldn't need to model all this, surely. Like, maybe up to this line. Like, what's visible to the player eye, if, assuming they don't go out of bounds. But, so I wonder what determines that. Like, I guess there's a sense of, like, I would want it to feel complete, even if it doesn't make sense in the greater scheme. Or maybe it's all stitched together in a sense where, oh, this is done now, this is done now, this is an invisible wall. And that's just how it ended up looking as a final product. Like, oh, let's make a coastline, and we'll just tape it on the background. Or, well, a rocky coastline kind of thing. And also, with how games have progressed visually, it feels not as fun or good to do this kind of thing with newer games. Or, not newer games. Let's say prettier looking games. Because it feels like... I don't know. It's just not as fun a feeling. Oh. And I can't really explain why. It's kind of a personal preferences kind of thing, but it's also kind of just like this is how I perceive old games when we were still working things out, right? Like with the newer, prettier stuff, it's not necessarily as any more figured out, even though it should feel like it. Maybe it's hard to fully convey it with words, but like, I guess it's also that I did this so much back then that it feels more natural when it's a game that isn't current modern graphics. Suppressor launcher. Who's shooting? Go to sleep. Oh, we got... Okay. Interesting that we didn't start with every gun. I'm trying to think of the prettiest game. Oh, I did do that with Elden Ring. I did do that with Elden Ring. Huh. How did Elden Ring look when I did that? It definitely had... It felt fine. It felt good and fine to do it with Elden Ring. Oh, shit. Hi. This was the progress? Shit. I fell for it. I thought that was the progress. Branching paths. Who would have thought? Where's my harpoon? Oh. So this is the thing shooting the crap. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. My spear, no! Oh, alright. Let's see. Oh! You dick. No, I want the spear though. I want a spear percent. Keep forgetting you're here, buddy. Okay, so you can't go up that way because they destroy it. Oh, but we got boxes. We just need to stack a few boxes. Oh wait, I could have fucking got him killed. Hold on, I can get him killed. I just realized. Holy fuck, you go flying. Where's my spear? Fuck. On spear. Oh no, dude. Oh, it's so hard to hold on to this thing. Huh? Okay, that was interesting. It kind of just got pierced in midair. Alright. I guess I'm trying to imagine going out of bounds in a game like... I did not wait. Expedition, and that probably wouldn't feel as good. Okay, so you can go up here. Here they come. Okay, he's charging. I mistimed it, unfortunately. I want them to kill each other. Goodbye, buddy. But you're not dead? Hold on. Fuck. What? Is he that well armored? Hold on a minute. Alright, let's go for a headshot. I think the spear has seen the end of its lifespan. Alright, hold on. I can kill you. Ooh, what? Fine, I'll use my gun. I can't believe you'd make me use my gun like that. I wonder if I could stop that from getting destroyed if I threw a grenade up there. Oh, for me? Wait, there was health down there. Guess we're grabbing that. Do. Are we on a time limit? Surely not. Okay, can we box? Kinda, sorta. Easy. Easy. We're in. Oh, they're fake houses.
Automatic medical system engaged. Morphine administered.
Or back up here. We're back down here. Alright, Didn't mean to fall. Didn't mean to fall. Let's try. Can we? Probably not. Stop shaking the cliffside. Think of the seagulls. They are literally crying. No! Oh my god. Fine. Fine. It cannot be done. Oh, unless... Oh, hold on. We got tech. We just need to do that, right? Right? Now... we will launch ourselves. some sort of spring-loaded cannon. Oh, the physics is so fucky with this, though. Ah. Hmm. Maybe we need to stack them. I'm trapped. Hmm. Hmm. No. Wait. Okay, it does work, but it won't work with us on it, maybe? I would like to flip around. Oh, we did get over there eventually. Okay, let's try this. Hmm. I don't think it's happening. I am not enough of a physics head. There is probably an angle in which this works, though. Oh well. Moving on. Alright, good old rock. Someone's rappelling down. Oh fuck. Where is he? I'm out of rocks! Alright, who's repelling? Ooh, hold up. Ah, you're so good.
Systems engaged. Morphine administered.
Why are you invincible? Oh, I gotta use my guns. God damn it. Alright, fine. These guys are tanky, what the hell? Hmm.
Loss. Engaged.
Wow, okay, I gotta take this seriously? Really? I have cross. Okay, we're so back. Oh, you missed. Okay. Ooh.
Ammunition depleted. Ammunition depleted.
Alright. Now what? There's a ship over here? There's a ship in the ship. I guess a boat. It's a boat. The difference between a boat and a ship. I never thought of that. Okay. So... that is actually a thing. Oh, hello. I don't have any more... I have one precision weapon.
Ammunition depleted.
I have no precision weapon. Why are we here? I do not understand why we're here. We have a goal, but why are we here? When does this take place? Big Dragon's Dogma vibes. Okay. Where, where did that shoot from? Over there, okay. Visiting a place that looks like this would be pretty fun, I think. I would just wander the whole fucking day. If allowed. Okay, we can jump in the well. Do we jump in the well? We don't jump in the well. Okay, no, we can't jump in the well. Probably go that way. Alright, where can we box hop? Here. We box here. We're boxing. Does this have to be on a certain side too? So it's like the barrel you're saying? Stop shooting that thing. Okay, how do we flip okay, this is how we flip this. Okay. Now. No? Still no? Maybe it's facing the wrong side? Oh! Oh! We now understand boxing. Come on. God damn it. We're here? It's over here. Don't fall. Where are you? I'm apparently right on it. Spoiling myself, goddamn. Look at all this shit in here. Ow. What's over here? Death is over here. It's funny how there's some interiors modeled as well. I guess they're stitching those together in some capacity. Here, I'll take all that, thank you. Something tells me there's a chopper fight. I'm getting that hunch. Why? Oops, I'm sorry. Oh, I can take these. Oh, God. Makes sense. Can I get you caught up there? Ah! Nice. Oh! We did it, we fucked it. Alright. Mission accomplished. So this is like launching them, I guess? I finally get to learn a bit more about these damn things. Warning. Moving parts can crush and cut, keep hands and objects clear while operating. Let me in. Do we just... Oh, we do! Well, that's fun. How do they know I'm here? Bro, I'm busy. Do you mind? They'll never take me alive. There's still another one somewhere. Don't ask how I know. Alright, where'd you go? I'm ready. I'm ready. Coward? Coward! Is he out here now? Ooh. I ain't hitting shit with this. Ooh. Owl simulator. Ooh. Where? Should have shaped my fucking crossbows for this section. What the hell? Okay. You have the high ground. How are you losing? Where's the third one? The hell? The chopper got bored and left. Oh, you're here. There's a secret gun compartment. I know you priests have one. Somehow. Oh, we don't want to fix that. I guess we can quick save? Kind of a awkward arrangement there, but alright. Can we go through this now? Like, we can go around there, I know, but... Oh, we could just, like, probably move these. That makes sense. Okay, quick save again. Oh! Alright then. One second. Sorry about that. So... We go down here now? We almost die? Okay. Hmm. Well, this is fun. I like a little scaffolding maneuvering. Is this progress? Is this just gonna take us back down to the dude? Wait, what? Oh, that's the chopper. Okay, that is that. Okay, hold on. What's the other way? Don't kill me. Invisible. Really? You're invisible walling me here? Really? Okay. That's not gonna work. Alright, let's go back. It's Dark Souls. Not there, huh? Okay. All the way down. I guess I could have got off early.
You did it, lad.
Major fracture.
Come on with me to St. Olga. We'll celebrate this victory with a feast. I hope you like leeches.
Aren't they all dead?
Hey, where you going?
I'm here.
You're getting fuzzy around the edges. Well, I guess you got other places to be.
Oh.
Nice knowing ya.
Okay. Really? That's it? That's all? I guess it is one chapter. Okay. Well then let's pivot to Half-Life 2. Let me change the game category. That is really short. Too short. Just give me another chapter. Or at least one more thing to do. I guess we will, do this then. Commentary mode is currently on. Commentary nodes contain audio commentary by the Valve development team. To start or stop a node, aim at any balloon icon and press the Use button. You will be invulnerable to damage while listening to a node. Achievements cannot be earned in commentary mode. Hope the balloon is telegraphed well enough that I'll know what the fuck it is and where it is.
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine. Not that I wish to imply you have been sleeping on the job. No one is more deserving of a rest, and all the effort in the world would have gone to waste until... well, let's just say your hour has come again. The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world. So wake up, Mr. Freeman. Wake up and smell the ashes.
The ashes of my handiwork.
I didn't see you get on. This is my third transfer this year. No matter how many times I've been relocated, I never get used to it.
I'm Gabe Newell, and welcome back to Half-Life 2. It's been a long 20 years since its release. In this anniversary update, we've tried to respond to as many of the community's requests as possible. And while this might not be the absolute #1 request from fans, I often hear how much people would like a commentary mode, so we're excited to finally make that happen. Not only was it a challenge to remember many of the details of Half-Life 2's development, but it's not easy to crack open decades-old computer code and wonder what the hell you were thinking way back then. Along with the dev commentary, we've cleaned up a bunch of old bugs and tried to leave things in better shape than we found them. And at least this time, we had the luxury of knowing how things turned out in the end. To listen to a commentary node, put your crosshair over the floating commentary symbol and press your Use key. To stop a commentary node, put your crosshair over the rotating node and press the Use key again. And please let me know what you think. You can reach me at gaben@valvesoftware.com. Thanks, and have fun.
That's a funky looking @ sign. And then it's grayed out because it's already been used.
I'm Gabe Newell, and welcome back.
Welcome to City 17.
Physics objects. It might be hard to remember it now, but back when Half-Life 2 came out, small objects in games, like these bits of trash, were usually static. As in, they didn't really move, or if they did, it was in a very simple way. If you were lucky, they might break apart into some sprites if you hit them. One of the goals for this initial train station section was to really make it clear to players that these kinds of things were properly, physically, actually being simulated in Half-Life 2. They could be picked up, dropped, thrown, broken, moved by other forces, you name it. Here we're starting with just a small thing, showing that trash is being blown by the arrival of the train, or, more specifically, an invisible volume that's triggered by the player leaving the train.
Train station. The beginning of a Half-Life game has a big job to do. We have to introduce players to a new world while teaching them how to interact with it. Players need to quickly grasp what's happening, who the key players are, what threats they face, and how they fit into it all. Above all else, it has to be as fun and interactive as possible. Nailing this takes a lot of iteration and playtesting, especially on the small moments that make up a bigger picture of the game. In this section, we'll highlight some key moments, game design problems, and a few playtests where things didn't quite go as planned.
In the citadel so thoughtfully provided by our benefactors.
Our
I've been proud to
benefactors.
call City 17 my home. And so, whether you are here to stay or passing
Is-
through on your way to
Breen is like the head honcho, right?
welcome.
Obeying the overlords, the advisors. There aren't just a bunch of other Breens across the other City 17. City 17s.
All right, I'm moving. Jeez.
Were you the only ones on that train?
I got commentaries I gotta listen to.
Metro Cop shoving citizens. We've only walked a few feet and we're already got problems to solve. We're introducing the Metro Cop, an enemy that eventually we're going to ask players to kill, and giving you a glimpse of the world they're stepping into. It's a simple, clear moment that shows the relationships between the Metro Cops and citizens, and by extension, the player. At the same time, we decided to reinforce the existence of the core physics simulation, showing the way in which NPCs can casually interact with objects in the world. Seeing something like a suitcase knock into another and dislodge was pretty novel back then. These moments at the train station, where we combined multiple goals, were the most successful. They felt natural, like the game wasn't pausing just to teach you a lesson.
That reminds me, I want to check this over here again. This does look like the same place, but with a lot more trains. That you see later. May or may not be, though. Could also just be a uniform design in that regard, yeah. Alright, don't mind me.
Sweeping Vortigaunt. Another key moment of storytelling, and another nod to the physics system. Here we're showing how Vortigaunts fit into this new world, which is a big shift from their Half-Life 1 role as enemies. Like so many moments in Train Station, the Sweeping Vortigaunt came from our constant hunt for ways to show characters interacting naturally with a physics system. Why just tell players Vortigaunts are friendly now, when you can show one casually sweeping the floor and knocking around some simulated objects? Nothing signals, hey, don't shoot me this time around, like someone willing to tidy up.
Welcome to City 17.
It works pretty effectively. Okay, how far away can I?
Train station.
Oh, that far, okay. Okay, but the walls will interrupt the possibility of...
Overwatch stopped our train in the woods and took my husband for questioning. They said he'd be on the next train. I'm not sure when that was. They're being nice, though, letting me wait for him.
Welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to
Citizens. When it came time to design the human citizens of City 17 and the world outside the city, we chose to include a variety of races, ages, and genders. This not only provided narrative context for the Combine's enslavement of all of humanity, but it was also important to us that anyone playing the game could see themselves represented in the Resistance, with everyone on Earth united against the Combine. While we found a number of candidates to use as reference in creating these citizens through our daily lives and connections, we ultimately resorted to advertising in the Seattle Times classifieds to reach the desired range of faces that we'd envisioned.
Seattle? Alright. Not what I would have expected at all. I don't know where Valve is based out of, though.
Don't drink the water. They put something in it to make you forget. I don't even remember how I got here.
Welcome. Welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our finest remaining urban centers.
They're always departing, but they never arrive.
I thought so much of
And the ones that do arrive, they
17
never
that I
leave.
elected to
You never see them
establish
go. They're always
my
full. No one
administration
ever gets
here
on, but they're always
in the citadel so
departing, but they
thoughtfully
never
provided by
Natural storytelling. To achieve our world building and storytelling goals throughout the train station, we needed a natural way to deliver dialogue without it feeling too gamey or requiring tutorials. We noticed players often approached NPCs to get a closer look, so we turned that into an opportunity for the NPCs to acknowledge the player and deliver their lines. This kept interactions low-key, which was essential since the citizens aren't exactly too cheerful or lively. The simplicity of this approach also aligned with one of Half-Life's core storytelling goals, making the narrative responsive to the player's interest. Some players want to dig into every detail, while others just want to know what to do next. Giving players control over how much story they want to engage with, without it blocking progress, is a goal we always try to maintain in a Half-Life game. Plus, the less complicated a feature is to implement, the more of it we can include.
That really is words to live by. Less complicated, the more you can elaborate on an idea.
I've been proud to call City 17 my home.
Dr. Breen again?
So, whether
I was
you
hoping
are
I'd see
here
the
to
rest of
stay
him in City
or
14.
passing
I wouldn't say that too loud. This is his base of operations.
to City 17. It's safer here.
I'm working up the nerve to go on. I see they took your suitcase too. They can't get away with this much longer.
There you go. You want a suitcase?
Cut it out.
You don't want a suitcase? Okay.
Early tech planning. Shipping a game always teaches us a lot. We finally get to find out which choices we made were good ones, and which were ones we should do differently next time. So after Half-Life 1, when we sat down to start thinking about what kind of sequel we could build, we had all kinds of player feedback to digest. From it, we tried to build a master list of things that Half-Life 2 was going to focus on. We didn't try to design a specific player experience. Instead, we found it more useful to approach the question from a technological standpoint. Black Mesa's security guards and scientists had worked well. What could we do if we pushed it really, really hard on characters? We liked our interactive storytelling. What could we build that would allow us to do even more of it, and a greater variety? The exploration and interaction with the Black Mesa was compelling to players. Maybe a physics system would allow us to take that further. In all these areas, we tried to imagine the best version of it could look like years in the future, and back solve from that a set of technological steps that might get us there.
Is it pretty cool?
Storytelling. Creating a sense of immersion was a core principle in our approach to Half-Life 1's storytelling, and it led us to the self-imposed constraints of never, or at least very rarely, taking control away from the player and of keeping the player's avatar silent. These limitations made storytelling more challenging at times, but we felt it was important to stay with them for Half-Life 2. Our hope was that by maintaining these principles, we'd push ourselves to explore deeper, more interactive storytelling.
It's rare for a protagonist to suddenly talk when they didn't previously. I think about Dead Space as a prime example of that. I think the shift did work in a sense, even if the games aren't that outstanding. But you do change everything by having the protagonist talk more, or talk at all. I'm moving.
Welcome. Welcome to City 17. You have chosen or been chosen to relocate to one of our
Characters. In Half-Life 1, security guards and scientists could best be described as archetypes, not individuals. They were abstractions of characters that matched the visual fidelity we could achieve at the time. But as our technology improved with Half-Life 2, we saw an opportunity to move beyond abstractions. The increased visual fidelity of the character models, combined with improvements in animation, made us believe we could focus on creating individual characters, people you would actually care about. We allowed ourselves to write real dialogue and have characters deliver it in a way that felt realistic enough for players to not think about them as pawns in a video game, and hopefully propel our narrative forward. In 2001, a couple of years into development, we were energized by Japan Studios' Eco. Directed by
Really?
an animator, it blew us away with its reliance on characters as the key connection to the player, giving us the courage to keep pushing forward.
Eco of all
Must
things.
be a mistake. I got a standard relocation coupon just like everybody else.
Really goes to show just how broad the medium is, and then you can't just assume everybody's going to consume the same stuff. Consuming stuff outside your comfort zone also important. Okay, 1 second.
Character.
Okay, that pauses it. Make me. Yeah, you're all talk. Screw you. No.
I'm gonna need me some honesty for this.
About that beer I owed you. It's me, Gordon, Barney from Black Mesa. Hey, sorry for the scare. I had to put on a show for the cameras. I've been working undercover with civil protection. I can't take too long or they'll get suspicious. I'm way behind on my beating quota.
Yes, Barney, what is it? I'm in the middle of a critical test.
Sorry, Doc, but look who's here.
Great Scott! Gordon Freeman! I expected more warning.
Yeah, you and me both, Doc. He was about to board the express to Nova Prospect.
Well, Barney, what do you intend?
I'm thinking.
Alex is around here somewhere. She would have a better idea how to get him here.
Oh, as long as he stays away from checkpoints, we should be okay. Listen, I gotta go, Doc. We're taking enough chances as it is.
Very well. And, Gordon, good to see you.
Oh,
Okay,
true.
Gordon, you're gonna have to make your own way to Dr. Kleiner's lab. Oh, man, that's what I was afraid of. Get in here, Gordon, before you blow my cover.
Don't worry, I blocked the door. They won't get in.
Blocking tutorials. At times, we need to be certain the player has learned something, and the standard method, at least in game development, not in life, is to trap them behind a gate of some kind, where the player must demonstrate their knowledge to be able to continue. We try to disguise these gates as something natural, so it doesn't feel like the game has come to a halt. Of course, time, resources, or the environmental context itself can make that tricky. In this case, we needed to teach the players how to move objects, so a simple stacking puzzle seemed like the best solution. We tested more complex designs, but they ended up being less effective at teaching the actual thing we needed the player to learn.
Yeah, especially for the first few minutes of the game, you wanna, or hours if you're me, you wanna keep it simple for folks. Build up on that
Blocking
concept.
the tutorials too. There are two failures of note in this tutorial. First, players can break it by tossing all the boxes out the window, which is obviously not great. This leaves them stuck and unable to continue, which we consider a game-stopping bug that must be fixed. A clean solution would have been to tweak the window or crate sizes so that the player could fit through but not the crates. The problem was that we really only caught this problem late in development, and making even a simple change like that can have unpredictable game-breaking consequences, and right before launch no less. Also, this issue was purely theoretical. We'd never actually seen players do it. Our playtest of the design space had gone smoothly, with players learning what they needed and moving on. So changing the room's design this late in the game could have disrupted that success in ways that we couldn't foresee, so we opted for a more conservative fix rather than something elegant. If you're curious, try tossing all the boxes out the window and see what happens.
Ooh, okay. I am curious. I'm very curious. Okay, but first...
Blocking Tutorials 3. The second failure in this tutorial space is a case of misteaching, where we accidentally teach the player something we didn't intend. This can be hard to avoid without extensive playtesting, since the game is always teaching, even when it's not by design. We cover a more extreme example of this later in Train Station. Some cases of misteaching are critical to fix, like if the player learns the wrong way to use a weapon or interact with a common element of the game. But this one was more subtle. While teaching players to move objects, we also taught them to stack physics objects to escape a space. Normally that's fine, except we don't deploy that puzzle later in the game, and teaching something irrelevant just clutters up their mental toolkit and makes it harder to readily keep useful things in mind later on. Worse, stacking objects to escape the play space become a problem later on, something we had to actively prevent in multiple areas. With so many physics-based objects in the game, blocking this behavior without putting ceilings everywhere wasn't really an option. In the end, we hoped players wouldn't overthink this early lesson, and when playtests showed players getting stuck later on, we made sure not to remind them of it.
Oh my god. Don't stack your boxes. Don't stack them. Don't stack your boxes. Just don't do it. Just don't fucking do it. Just don't fucking stack your boxes. Just don't fucking do it. But I love stacking. It's not even a case of, oh, the tutorial, I've learned something that I wasn't supposed to learn. I just want to do it, you know? I just want to do it. Huh? Alright, hold on. Is it warping the same box, or the infinite box generator? That's really good. Alright, hold on. Hold on. How many boxes are out here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 boxes currently. Oh, it's warping it. Oh. Alright, well, what if I stacked the briefcases instead of the boxes? Actually, can I? Yeah, it does, yeah, okay. Time to learn the tutorial for the wrong way. I fear this last playthrough is going to take us some time. How many would I need? 3? It only takes 3! Ooh, hold on.
Blocking Tutorials 3. Blocking tutorials.
Hold on. You need to come with me. Okay.
Fall damage. Teaching players how to do things is an essential thing for the game to do. But for them to make confident decisions, they also need to understand the more subtle rules. This small moment covers 2 of those. First, it shows how far the player can fall without taking damage.
Unless you throw all the boxes out the window.
It introduces a bit of the game's vocabulary, how the game will communicate with them. Players often worry about taking fall damage, but they also worry about taking a step that they can't take back. So here, a welcoming crate to land on signals that dropping down is safe and it's the way forward. And when the crate breaks, it reinforces the physics simulation, and is likely the first time players will see that larger objects can be broken apart.
You could also hear them break in that regard. We've barreled our way out of here before, right? Oh shit. Yeah. Oh, yeah, what's going on with that?
Of course, your question touches on one of the basic biological impulses, with all its associated hopes and fears for the future.
I don't want to go too far in case it blocks me. I guess I could do this. The quick saves. Yeah, immortality, sure, buddy. Oh, I like the ambient change. This guy loves to talk. I don't want to go too close in case the other subtitles override this guy's. Instinct, 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 instinct. Hello, Lorgan. Well, I finished Lost Coast, which was a very tiny side story. Very, very tiny one. More of a... I don't know what that was designed for, actually. Maybe it was dummied out content. And now we're just going through the game one last time for the dev commentaries. That's one of them right there. I never heard this bit of narration, though, so I'm just letting the subtitles play out. Unintentionally, that day is your death, Dr. Breen. And it is not close at hand. You're right, Dr. Breen. You're right, you're right. Alright, so I wanted to see if I can get back up the window and what would happen if I did that. Shit. Okay, let's go a little more to the right then. Oh, we're so back. We're so back. Oh, this is all still loaded in properly. They accounted for that. Nice. I have watched more Void Stranger speedruns, by the way. No comment, of course, but, curious that one of the categories doesn't have any submitted times. It motivates me a little bit, maybe, but we'll see if that category remains blank in a month or two, when I have time to actually look into that. No. Alright.
Pick up that can. Contextualizing tutorials, creating a story scenario in which they happen, lets us do more than just stop the game
Charlie
to teach
Brown?
players something. We get to add narrative value to the moment. Here, teaching the player how to throw objects is combined with a narrative setup that gives them a choice in how to respond. After watching the Metro cops casually abuse citizens, it felt right to put the player in a similar position next. If they had opinions on how the citizens should have reacted, now they get to express them. Playtesting showed most players either complied or refused the request to pick up the can, but some tried to avoid the confrontation entirely. Others would comply initially, then retaliate after feeling humiliated. By keeping the moment relatively constrained, in both terms of player actions and the space itself, we could generally react appropriately to whatever choice they made.
Neat. So what if I just say no? I just don't do it.
First, let us consider
We're just gonna stare each other down if I don't do it?
ever. As a species, immortality is in our reach. This simple fact has far-reaching
Bro got tired.
I find it helpful at times like these to remind myself that our true is
Ow. 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 Alright, what else can we do with the can?
This simple fact has far-reaching implications. It requires radical rethinking and revision.
Didn't react to that. Alright, fair enough.
This simple fact has far-reaching implications. It requires radical rethinking and revision of our genetic imperatives. It also requires planning and forethought that run in direct opposition to our neural precepts. I find it helpful at times like these to remind myself.
So your options are... Wait. Oh shit, he's on my ass. Oh, he's chasing. Wait, hold on. Hold on, I can lock him in. Ow, ow. Okay, hold on. We can make this work. Hold on. Ow. Get. Ah, there we go. And I'll do it because I want to. Alright, hold on. Can I get this guy? Where's something else I could throw at him? I guess I'll use the can to bait him. How far will he go? Maybe he won't go as far. Okay, he's still trapped in there. Alright. Does he have an aggro limit? I think I just heard a door open. He might have broken containment. No, come on. I want you on my ass. That came out wrong. Okay, hold on. We got more shit to throw. We can like get it all lined up and get him with a chain of items, maybe. Wait, can I get him? No, he's blocked, and that door is forever locked. Is this glass? It's not glass. Okay. All right, we got a chain. Now we throw the can. No, you're supposed to stay on my ass. Stay on my ass. No, keep on. Keep on. Okay. Now you're like, okay, I'm done. And now you're stuck. Ha ha. Does actually I don't know if he knows how to open door. He knows how to open door, it's over. The other guy got trapped behind the boxes though.
Playtesting. Playtesting is a core part of how we make games. We can never fully predict how players will respond or what they'll take away from what we've built. So we test to learn and hopefully improve. During a playtest, we don't guide or talk to the player, even if they're stuck, as it's extremely unlikely that we'll be sitting there next to the player once the game ships. Our goal is for testers to forget that they're playtesting altogether and play as if they're at home. Any interruptions risk skewing the data, so we only step in if there's a bug that's blocking progress, or more rarely, if their behavior is so confusing that we need to understand what they're thinking.
I really appreciate and respect tutorials that don't use dialogue. That's not the normal, and I understand sometimes you just gotta tell the player, right? Especially with games with heavy layered elements. But if you're able to pull off a non-speaking tutorial, it's just like, and if you go through the effort to make one, the respect in general. But if you actually manage to pull off a good one on top of that, then all the more, you know?
Early in a Half-Life game, one of our goals is to make promises to the player, giving them a sense of what to expect later on. From movies to TV shows and books, all great entertainment does this in some way, and video games are no different. The promises in a Half-Life game can take different forms. Some are simple, like offering just a glimpse of something intriguing. Others are more layered, like the interactions with Metro cops. By putting the player in a powerless position against them, we set the stage for that future moment when they can finally get to retaliate.
The promises also, in a sense, foreshadowing. We have seen some foreshadowing already with the train to Nova Prospect. We go to Nova Prospect later. We see that train multiple times over the course of our adventures. Almost a character in that sense. Too extreme with that? Like, sometimes a few words is better than none. I mean, it's, yeah, like, I do concede that not everything can be taught without a little wording, right? But I also think about... So my basis when I say that is Nintendo games. Like, Nintendo is a little excessive. If you have ever seen Xenoblade Chronicles 2, there are tutorials. There are so many pop-up tutorials for that game. In the final boss, there's a pop-up tutorial. Like, it is... there's a fine balance. There's a fine balance of trying to figure things out. And Doom Eternal is also pretty bad with tutorials. I mean, like, you could turn them off. So that's good. You can't do that with most games that are that high budget, AAA, etc., etc. So it's all about finding that fine line. And some games just don't know the line; they go too far in one direction or another. Sometimes that is the creative vision. When you don't do that, it doesn't feel like the case when you put too many though. Like when you put too many, that's just, oh, the players are not getting this. Let's just do it. Or we're covering our asses. We want to make sure players get this and they can't complain later. The other extreme is Rain World. Rain World does use dialogue eventually if players really aren't getting something, in rare cases. But it does try to tutorialize everything in a visual, let the player figure it out kind of sense. But yeah, God, it's been so long I forget how Breath of the Wild did tutorials. No, the problem with Breath of the Wild... Okay, we're back on the Breath of the Wild 2 hate train. Breath of the Wild I'm not going to talk about, but Breath of the Wild 2... Well, both games do this, but they do tutorial... So the shrines, which are like your main way of... The main content, so to speak, that you find. Like, oh, here's a little challenge for you to do. A good chunk of those shrines in both games are tutorials. They are just tutorials. Do the thing... Congratulations. No, do the thing. Here's how you do the thing. Thank you for doing the thing. Here's your reward. As opposed to an actual challenging puzzle. Or even a standard moderate puzzle. Or even a minor puzzle. Like, and Breath of the Wild 2 another reason Breath of the Wild 2 annoys me so much is that it tutorializes you for stuff that you learn in Breath of the Wild. And also there's a tutorial island you start on in both games that's meant to teach everything and then throw you out into the game. And then it's like, oh no, we're not... Here's some more basic information that we didn't want to put in the tutorial island for some reason. I don't know. It's hard to find the perfect... Like, if I were to think about it, there's probably a game that, like, is a perfect encapsulation of how to do tutorials, like, toe that line. I'm not sure what that game is offhand, of course. I think Celeste does a pretty good job, I guess. If I were to pull an example that does a pretty good job, it gives you the visual cues and it tells you your inputs. I did get stuck on one of those, having said that, but then in the farewell chapter, the extra chapter they added later in the game, it was much more explicit while also being kind of an in-joke to itself, because I think a few people were not getting one of those the tutorial that I had a little issue with. Not like it was teaching it well enough. It was just hard. It was a hard maneuver to pull off. It was a post game. It was the one post game tutorial, I think. It was a speed tech essentially.
The Citadel. We wanted the player's first view of City 17 to highlight the Citadel and its dominance over the city, representing the Combine's complete and total power over humanity. It also needed to serve as a clear goal. Even at the start, you can see where your journey ends. But despite its massive size, playtesters often missed it. A player's sense of depth and scale can be tricky on a computer monitor. If you've played any games in VR, you'll likely have noticed that scale feels more natural. Anyway, in this case, the Citadel's position above the player didn't help things either, which may be because FPS games train players to focus straight ahead or down at their feet. To improve the chances of players taking in the Citadel, we added birds flying towards the structure. A subtle trick we've found helps guide the player's view.
We should thank our benefactors for giving us respite from this
I imagine Breen being on the monitor is supposed to be another reason you look up there, right? But I guess people can be blind to that. Also, this is not helping. This is not helping. Go away. The fucking paparazzi. So like I could see the vision in that regard, like, oh, the dude. And now, oh, the tower.
Will be shut off.
Ropes. One of the things we noticed in all of the reference images that we gathered for City 17 was that there were cables and wires everywhere, and that they were a large part of the high-frequency detail in view. We loved the look of these older European cities enmeshed in the haphazard web of modern life. We felt like we needed a solution for cables, ropes, and similar elements, and we wanted them to be dynamic. Our level designers were eager to create plug puzzles, and connecting a cord to each plug helped players better understand the mechanics. Early in production, we built a rope system and iterated on it throughout development. Under the hood, each rope is made of multiple segments stretched between the two endpoints, and they can move independently. Each segment acts like a spring and responds to forces in the game, such as a gentle wind or the passing of a Combine gunship overhead. When rendered, each segment is shown facing the camera and is bump mapped, which is crucial for giving the ropes a realistic, rounded appearance.
Seem fit to suppress our reproductive cycle.
It is interesting to... I forget when I learned about this, but I remember seeing an image. It was like, I don't know if it was a political cartoon or like political cartoon adjacent, of something out of like the 20s or or around that era, where people were like so freaked out about all these telephone wires just lurking overhead that there was the parody art or cartoon was essentially just the whole sky was covered with them, their whole overview in one of these kind of city kind of town locations. Like people were not ready for that back then. Like we're all used to it at this point, but like it is something I think about once in a while whenever attention is called to these cell phone wires and electricity wires.
Let us consider the fact that
I didn't see the tower until you said, "Oh, the tower."
as a species, immortality.
Very good at filtering out visual information that's not my current interest focus. Yeah, I do my best, like, to have a... Maybe to a detriment. Like, I try to be aware of as much as possible. It kind of leads to overstimulation once in a while, but, like, if I see movement in any capacity, I tend to zero in on it. like, I probably, without commenting on it, I probably noticed these wires were waving around. But that's like, I was playing this last year for the first time, so like, that was something I'm used to. So I kind of, that's like I'm filtering that out because I'm used to that already. But back then, I probably, if I played this at launch, I would have been like, oh shit. Maybe I would have been pretty young at the time, teenage years.
But inseparable from instinct is its
But Dark Souls in particular probably is what instilled this idea of looking into the horizon, because Dark Souls 1 fantastically, like, this is like, I don't know how many games could match that example, but Dark Souls 1 for a non-open world, mind you, Dark Souls 1 did a really good job of giving you a layout of the world. Like, you could see various areas you're going to later get to, and you, like, there are reasonable paths to take to get to those places as well, where it just, like, there's a payoff there. So in that sense, after playing that game, I'm more, like, interested in the background. I became more interested in the background of games, whether or not they use it for anything beyond looking pretty or conveying something important.
Playtesting Anecdote 1. One memorable playtest reminded us that we can never be certain what players are thinking or what lessons they've taken from their experience. This tester, after playing from the start and stuck trying to open a door, spent several minutes going back and forth between the game and the keyboard settings. When we asked what they were looking for, they said they were searching for the inventory controls, thinking they could use an item they'd picked up earlier to unlock the door. While we'd seen them collect and drop several physics objects, they'd misunderstood what was happening. The tester believed that pressing the use key while holding an object moved it into an inventory because the item dropped straight down. We knew it was just gravity, but their assumption wasn't crazy. Some adventure games of that era did slide items into an invisible inventory that way. We explained there was no inventory, and the playtest continued. Later, we considered whether we needed to address this, but since no other playtesters had the same confusion, and all of our potential solutions were more heavy-handed than necessary, we decided it was an outlier that was okay to remain unaddressed. It served as a good reminder, though, of how even the most subtle, overlooked details can mislead a player.
I think it's also the background of the player that can, like, in that way that I was saying earlier, diversifying one's interests is always nice. Like, apparently Ico, they drew some inspiration from Ico, the Ico game, through characterization for this. You can never tell when you get a playtester involved what their background is in gaming. Do they play all types of games? Do they only play first-person shooters? Do they play 2D platformers? Yeah, so it's interesting to have those different perspectives and see what may result of that. I'm not too well versed in the idea of playtesting myself, but I have done some of it. And if you then there's the demoing, if you want to count that as playtesting, because that's games in earlier states. And I wonder if the devs for any demos, like, surely the devs are looking at demo streams, right? Like, one would think, just to get both, just to see their work at play and to get an idea of how players will be interacting with their game on a grander scale, for better or for worse, or a collective better and worse.
As a species, immortality is in our reach. This simple fact has far
Games, it's funny because they assume so much, but they also assume nothing. Again, Breath of the Wild 2 is just such a good example in so many cases, because, like, Breath of the Wild 2, at every corner, at every turn, assumes that nobody played the first game. Like, oh, you didn't play. It's okay, you didn't play the first game. We'll just pretend you didn't play the first game. Like, both in its writing and in its gameplay information conveyance. But at the same time, like, there are, like, very basic ways of interacting with games that people may just not be conscious of yet, whether it's because of age or experience, or both.
Exploration. After being herded through the train station by Metro cops, we wanted to give the player a chance to explore. This plaza offered several ways to interact with citizens, Metro cops, scanners, and the city infrastructure. We aimed for these interactions to continue building the world without needing explicit tutorials, and we refined them until they work naturally, without any real training.
I do love roaming a place. This is why I am scared of open worlds in general, though. I will roam a whole place even if there's not much to offer in that place.
Strider. This simple moment is a promise that you'll encounter this enormous thing later in the game. Even an uncomplicated scene such as this really does require a lot of playtesting and iteration because of Half-Life's goal of not taking control away from the player. As you can imagine, it takes a lot of small tweaks to ensure that as many players as possible are looking at the right place at the right time here. The street layout and the Metrocop scene are all set to guide the player's gaze, perfectly framing the Strider when it appears.
I wonder what the science is in, like, directing a gaze, directing a player's vision at any given time. Whether it's a game like this, or a movie, or just a piece of art. Like, that's a fascinating thing that I just cannot understand. And I'm okay with not understanding it, because, like, the people who understand it are, like... It's so over my head that it's even hard to acknowledge the efforts sometimes. Like, wow, that you got me. I just looked in the exact spot you wanted me to look at, even though I was doing whatever the fuck I was doing. Again, whether it's a movie or a show or a game or whatever.
Early game exploration. Up until this plaza, the player likely hasn't had to think much about their path, as it's been clear and straightforward. But here, we wanted to encourage exploration, which meant making the way forward less obvious, which can produce a feeling of being lost or, worse, confused, as you might expect. These kinds of shifts can be tough, especially early in the game, when the player is still learning the game's guidance cues. Here, it's further complicated by force-fielded checkpoints, which allow NPC citizens to move through, but restrict the player, leading many playtesters to believe that there was a way to bypass them. Ultimately, it was extensive testing that helped us find the right visibility for the alley forward, using lighting, layout, and a wooden crate, an object players have already used as a sign they're headed in the right direction, all to subtly guide them forward.
You hear that, game devs of current year? You don't need yellow paint. You don't need it. You can use lighting. You could use objects. My god. The tech. Or at least it doesn't have to be yellow every time. Surely there are colors that can convey attention besides yellow. That surely they've tested enough.
Closed captions.
With enough testing.
During Half-Life 2 development, we were approached by folks interested in accessibility who encouraged us to go beyond the subtitle system we had built for Half-Life 1. They requested a full-featured closed captioning system to capture all game sounds, not just dialogue. This turned out to be a much tougher challenge than expected. Half-Life 2 produced a wide variety of sounds, and categorizing them for captions was crucial. Prioritization was also key. Dialogue needed to stand out, and it had to be clear who was speaking. Ambient sounds, like distant combat, were important for setting the mood in some levels, but less so if there was an enemy shooting nearby. Our level designers also often reuse sounds in different contexts, so sound might require captioning in one area, but not in another. Ultimately, every sound in the game ended up with its own caption data, formatted almost like a small version of HTML, giving us control over the visual style of each caption. As with the audio files, the caption data was too large to keep in memory, so we built an asynchronous caching system to handle it efficiently.
The captioning is such a marvel, such an idea, such a good thing. And I wish more games were able to do that. It's a shame that it's mostly a Half-Life staple, because I really love that idea. Even if it feels overzealous at times, I would prefer over instead of under.
This is how it always starts. First the building, then the whole block. They have no reason to come to our place. Don't worry, they'll find one.
Physics simulation.
Even though we began Half-Life 2 with a functional third-party physics simulation, it still took us years of additional work both on the simulation itself and its integration into the game until we felt like we could meet our designers' ambitions. Maintaining a shippable level of quality and performance was something we knew would be a challenge along the way, but the more subtle issue was actually figuring out what to simulate and to what extent. We can't simulate everything, and even if we could, there are game design reasons why the experience is better when we don't. In many cases, we deliberately bend the simulation to improve the player's experience. These adjustments usually go unnoticed because they align with player intentions. For example, we disable collisions between the player and large objects to let them turn in narrow spaces. Or we tweak the Combine rifle's alternate fire to gently guide the Combine ball toward enemies, making it more effective. Physics simulation. Even though we began Half-Life 2 with a functional third-party physics simulation,
Combine rifle's ultra fell gently guide the Combine ball toward enemies. Huh.
And its integration into the game until
Not
we
sure if I
felt
noticed
like we
that,
could meet
actually.
our designers' ambitions. Maintaining a shippable level of quality and performance was
Okay. This one's probably next.
Crate Baby. This small baby doll has a long legacy. During the long months of internal testing, some of the team turned it into a challenge, a way to make the 47th playthrough of a game a bit more fun. They'd place the doll inside of a nearby blue crate and see how far they could carry it throughout the game. After Half-Life 2 launched, the community started carrying Crate Baby as well, adding their own stories and rules to the mix. A few years later, while working on Episode 2, this was the inspiration for the Little Rocket Man achievement, where players had to carry a garden gnome dubbed Gnome Chomsky throughout the entire episode.
Gnome
Chomsky
Chomsky.
even made a comeback for Left 4 Dead 2 in the Garden Gnome achievement.
I am
where
aware
players
of
had to
that
carry him
one.
through the Dark Carnival campaign. These kind of interactions with players are some of the most rewarding parts of game development. We design games with theories in mind, but you never really know where things are going until players get their hands on it.
Oh, yep. That's why I needed to do the, Oh, shit. All the achievements first. Nope! Are we gonna do the Crate Baby run? Is that what's happening right now? Are y'all thinking what I'm thinking? Y'all being me? Wait, what? The text is really visible here, actually. Warning, use by other than registered owner, punishable by law. I can't believe that text is so cleanly visible. What the fuck?
Playground. When we discussed ways to highlight our physics simulation around the city environment, a playground felt like the natural fit. And for players paying attention to Dr. Breen, it's also a reminder of the cost of humanity's surrender to the Combine. We chose a few playground structures with interesting physics potential and began tuning them. Even with the advanced physics simulation we had at the time, setups like this always required hand tuning, as we had fully simulated objects interacting with non- or partially simulated ones, such as the player or static world geometry. It might be easy to assume that a simulation can carry a lot of the load of implementation, but even now, 20 years later, that is rarely the case. Back when we were working on the playground, late in development on the game, we couldn't get the friction on the slide to feel right, so we decided to break the ladder so the player couldn't get up there. However, you still can just walk right up the front. As is commonly the case, you, the player, get the last laugh on us.
Oh, wow.
Playground.
Physics Simulation 2. Areas where game design or other constraints impacted the physical simulation often required extra tuning to keep the simulation from blowing up. As an example, early on we experimented with increasing the simulation on the player entity, which is to say, make player movement much more a part of the physical simulation of the world. We knew this might make movement feel less precise, but hoped it could lead to some novel experiences. However, after tuning the movement to match the less simulated version, we had a major problem. The physical force needed for the player to move at their usual speed was so high that simply running into other simulated objects could result in death from the impact. We iterated on it, but ultimately couldn't find a solution we liked, and reverted to the less simulated movement. However, this wasn't exactly the easier path. It introduced new challenges with how the less simulated player interacted with the more simulated objects in the game. But it did allow us to deliver the precise movement experience we wanted.
I'm gonna redo this one.
Physics Simulation 2. Areas where game design or other constraints impacted the physical simulation often required extra tuning to keep the simulation from blowing up. As an example, early on we experimented with increasing the simulation on the player entity, which is to say, make player movement much more a part of the physical simulation of the world.
That goes over my head a tiny bit, but I think I get what it's saying. Oh my god. I got distracted by wanting to evenly balance these. Oh! Why is it not evenly balanced? Is it positioning? Oh! No, dude! Oh, it is a positioning thing. Who's coughing? Oh. Fuck, I fucked it up. No! I want the even! Why you're not even? Alright, fine. You missed the first time, buddy. Why are you chasing me, bro? Why you have to be mad? I'll give you a reason to be mad. Never gets old. You can't hurt me. I got my buddies here. They'll protect me. Alright, great baby. Did we get them all? Great. Oh, fucking... Baby. Wanna hear a joke? 2 skeletons. Get in here.
Materials and shaders. Half-Life 2 came out in the midst of a significant shift in 3D graphics, where the industry moved from textures to materials and shaders. In Half-Life 1, every surface had a texture, essentially an image wrapped onto the polygons of the surface. But by Half-Life 2, just 5 years later, every surface had both a material and a shader. The shader was a lump of code that customized how the surface was rendered. The material defined properties for how the surface behaved physically and how it responded to gameplay features. It also held references to textures and other parameters for the shader to use for rendering. As a result, artists and designers had much more control over how things looked and behaved.
Let me just kill this guy real quick, sorry. I love bots, especially ones that are just ban evading.
However, this came with a trade-off. Half-Life 1 could run on a computer with only a CPU, but Half-Life 2 required a GPU because the computations needed for materials and shaders were specifically designed for GPU hardware. The refracting glass door here is a clear example of a custom shader, but every surface in the scene is actually running a shader of some kind.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, this glass is kind of impressive, isn't it? Oh, wait, do we want a red one? Hold on a minute. Is the red one bigger? They're about the same size. I think blue. Who is coughing? Stop coughing. Oh, you don't wanna come in, huh? Oh, I see how it is. You can't fucking touch me. I'm untouchable. I'm unkillable. Oops, 1 second. Oh, let Let me... I just saw that message. As opposed to leaving you hanging for a few hours. And now to double check that I DM'd the right person so I don't accidentally spoil something for anybody else. That is correct. Okay. Oh, fuck. No, baby.
Materials and shaders.
Materials and shaders. Alright. Baby. Is this baby made of wood? What the hell? Hold on. Why is this the hardest thing? Oh my god. Alright. Slowly. Slow. Oh my god. I don't think I want to do Crepe Baby. So going up here is bad because, dude. Can I? Stop it. Stop hitting me. Stop it. Alright, fine, I won't try to go past you.
Cube maps. With the addition of materials and shaders, we needed a solution for reflective surfaces like glass and steel. These surfaces had to know what to reflect, but in 2003 we couldn't do any of that rendering in real time, so we developed the cube map system for pre-computed reflections. A cube map is a set of 6 images on the inside of a cube, capturing the environment in every direction, like a panoramic photo that surrounds you on all sides. Level designers placed invisible marker entities throughout the levels, and during map compilation, we generate a cube map at each marker. Then, during gameplay, when rendering a reflective surface, we locate the nearest pre-computed cube map to create the reflection.
It's good timing with the wooden reflection here. Get the light at least. Right here. Let's put the baby somewhere. At the very least, we've moved it from its house. Here, it's your baby now. Oh God.
Field of view. In Half-Life 1, we used a 90-degree field of view, or FOV, which was fairly standard for first-person shooters at the time. But during Half-Life 2's development, we grew unhappy with it. With our game's focus on characters, we'd put extensive effort into detailed facial and body animations. But the 90-degree FOV just didn't allow players to get close enough to fully appreciate that detail. So we began experimenting with a tighter FOV, and ultimately landed on 75 degrees. It took some adjustment for both us and players, and it required an additional FOV for view models, which are the player's weapon, held at the bottom of the screen. Their models were originally built with 90 degrees in mind, so they looked distorted at 75. But this change succeeded in doing what we wanted, putting our characters front and center in the game. Field of view.
Oh wait, did it change the... Hold on. Oh, it changed the view just for that commentary.
Field of view.
Interesting. I like that. Alright, can I change the field of view in here? I normally never fuck with it. For better or worse, so I think I fucked with it a little bit in Devil Laggers. It would be here if that was somewhere. Never looked at these actually. Motion blur, fuck that. Classic effects. Setting recommended for your system. Oh, ain't that nice? I guess not then, huh? Oh, you can do. Okay.
Field of view. In Half-Life 1, we
I just adjust to whatever the game's field of view is on average, for better or worse. Though it would take something like Devil Daggers to force me to reconsider.
I thought you were a cop.
He's one of us.
What am I even wearing right now?
Told you they'd be coming for us next.
Just this once, I hope.
Another blue suit?
Reference maps. As our characters grew more lifelike between Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2, we wanted the game world to feel equally realistic. In Half-Life 1, the limitations of first-person games often made it easier to lean on stylized or abstracted environments. But with Half-Life 2, we set out to create a setting that felt grounded in reality, which meant focusing on a lot of small details we hadn't before. One of our main steps was creating reference maps to standardize how we'd map real-world proportions into the game. These maps establish details like wall and door dimensions, doorknob heights, interior lighting, furniture scale, and the general scale of common objects. We created standardized textures for level designers, complete with scale and lighting values. The layouts would be consistent from the start. Besides setting up the physical world, these reference maps defined how the player would move through it, how high they could jump, how low they could duck, and the size of spaces like vents. Using these maps as foundation, we were able to keep our world geometry consistent and ensure realistically sized spaces across the game. Reference maps.
Using, hold on, how they
As
jump,
our
how
characters
to
grew
like
more
that.
lifelike
Using
between
maps
Half-Life
foundation
1
with
and
a
Half-Life 2, we wanted
consistent
to...
geometry. I see.
Oh no, now we're really gonna get it.
Wait, what? Is it mandated to leave those on? Yeah, you don't need this TV. Yeah, I do.
Can't take it anymore.
It's gonna be okay.
What are we going to do?
We'll think of something.
When is it all going to end? Please.
It's all right.
And these TVs. Alright, so this is the classic, no texture loaded, as seen in Gary's mod.
Missing material. Early on in developing our low-level graphics code, we realized it would be difficult to spot polygons that weren't rendering due to a missing texture. When this happened, you'd typically just see black where the polygon should be, which could easily go unnoticed in darker scenes. To catch this bug more reliably, we created an error texture that would be visually unmistakable and generated automatically whenever a texture failed to load. This gave rise to the now iconic purple and black checkerboard texture, which has since taken on a life of its own well beyond Half-Life 2.
So that's why it was like that. Intentional for the help of testing. That's really cool. Really effective and yeah, iconic. Weird to have like a non-loading texture thing be iconic. Something memorable in the gaming medium.
Missing material.
Oh, I didn't mean that. I appreciate them showing it there.
Stop that.
The way he says that.
That's enough of that. No more.
Hey, cut it out.
Missing material.
Oh, didn't mean that. My bad, sorry. Oh, we got the lamp. We got the lamp. How do we get the lamp over here?
That's enough of that.
Watch it, will you?
There we go. Now that's art. Okay, let's take the dresser with us.
Attention, residents. Miscounts detected in your block.
Are they already acting?
Cooperation with your civil protection team. Permits full ration reward.
The raid. The section ahead, where the Metro cops raid the apartment while the player is inside, took a lot of iteration to get right. Generally, we design Half-Life to let players set their own pace, since people move through the game in a variety of ways. Some players run, ignoring anything that doesn't seem like a threat, while others methodically poke at everything.
Yeah,
whenever
that's
we need
me.
to force a specific pace, it's always a challenge to ensure players perceive that pace and naturally play along. Since this is the first time we do this, we had to put in a lot of work to make it clear to the player that they needed to move quickly, and there's no time for exploration here.
There's always time for exploration. He's so bad at his job. Can he get me if I just... Oh, he can. Okay.
The raid.
The Raid 2. In addition to making sure the player felt the pressure to move forward, we had to ensure the raid itself was foolproof. There couldn't be any way for the player to avoid it or double back past the Metro cops. The real challenge wasn't that players would try to break the scene, but that many would panic and run in random directions once they realized they were under threat for the first time. This moment requires a delicate balance. We wanted a heart-pounding escape, the sense of real danger, but we wanted players to make it through on their first try and feel like they escaped by the skin of their teeth. To achieve this, we kept the path ahead clear and reminiscent to the one they had just taken through the previous floor. A series of carefully placed triggers controls the threats appearing ahead and behind, maintaining the pressure while still giving players enough time to stay ahead of their pursuers.
Or you can be me and just bust and try to get around them for 10 minutes, which totally didn't happen in my first playthrough. The fuck kind of cryptid ass shit just happened? Alright, I'll go back the way I came. Yeah, alright. I broke it? I guess I broke it? Oops. They turned into the Combine. Fuck. Everybody's Combine. Except for me. Alright, well, can I get out over you?
time to lose.
They broke my shit. Death. They're already in here. Where the fuck are they going? Alright, let's try this. Okay. No! God damn it. Alright, hold on. Let's hard save. You know what? That's what we should be doing. No, you asshole! You were not gonna survive, and now you've caused me immeasurable grief. Alright, fine.
There's no time to lose.
Lady. No! He knows? No! Fuck you!
Get in here, quick. Keep moving. Head for the roof. Get going. Go on.
Health and no HUD. The rooftop chase sequence posed a unique design challenge. We didn't want
I
it
forgot
to be
we
a
are
true
vulnerable
gameplay
without our
obstacle,
suit.
and our best case was for players to
Here,
make it through on
specifically.
their first try. But we still wanted to create the sense of real danger, where players felt legitimately threatened if they didn't keep moving. The challenge was that without the HEV suit, players don't technically have a heads-up display or HUD, which means no way to show damage or remaining health. After some experimenting, we created a special health system for this section, using a red glow around the screen to indicate damage. Players reacted as we hoped, taking it as a sign to keep moving, and the chase unfolded as intended. To top it off, we made health regenerate quickly so the glow wouldn't linger, reinforcing to players that running was indeed the right choice, and ensuring players weren't taken down by a stray bullet at the end just because they dawdled or hesitated earlier on.
Sorry, I got to check it for a second there.
Health and no HUD.
To top it off,
The
made health
rooftop chase
regenerate
sequence
quickly.
posed a unique design challenge.
Running was
We
indeed the
didn't
right
want it to be
choice. So I wonder, this had to have been a system that was implemented in other games before now, because it's so consistently available in games these days, to my knowledge, but maybe it just was a Floyd show. Might just be that kind of situation. The cans will save me. Ow! Stop shooting. Oh, you're up here. You can't kill me. You can't kill me in a way. Oh, you can kill me. Yeah, you can kill me. Well, this is the biggest item we can grab, so. Alright. Trying to see if I can get down here. Oh wait, hold on. I have an idea. No, that's not the idea. That's not the idea. No, that's not the idea. Sorry, just a tiny bit of faffing about the tree. I fucking am terrible though. Okay, it's not happening. So I'm curious. Okay, that one was unintentional. I wanted to see if I could walk on this. I can. By God, I can. Oh, it's an invisible wall! Okay. How much splat can we splat? If we splat all the way at that. You can get away with a lot of damage though, huh? At least from the pistols. I fucking fell off. Accidentally. You can stop shooting me now. If you'd be so kind. Can this work? Yeah, that would be really hard. I don't think so. I forgot, there's boxes down here or something, right? No. It's just these. Forget if you can get these out of here. I'll try briefly. Doesn't seem like it. For shame. Yeah, they just don't want you.
Playtesting Anecdote 2. In the upcoming section, we needed the player to be knocked down so Alex could save them. With limited time and resources, we simplified the encounter as much as possible, reusing existing systems and letting it play out like a normal combat sequence, with a custom event triggered when the player died. After a few playtests to fine-tune the timing, we moved on, but as we got close to shipping, we encountered a problem with a playtester who quick-saved constantly and immediately hit quick-load whenever they thought they'd failed. When a Metro cop hit them, they quick-loaded before Alex could step in, repeating this more than 10 times before we asked them to stop. At this stage of development, in the final bug-fixing phase, we had to limit ourselves to fixing only game-breaking issues, since even small changes could risk breaking something more important. Knowing this was a rare edge case, because most players had no trouble, we made a few conservative changes. We shortened the delay between the knockdown and Alex's first line, and changed the fade-out color to white instead of black, which wasn't ultimately that useful since players hadn't died enough yet to associate black with death. We considered disabling quick load for the few seconds that the scene plays out, but we were worried that could introduce a bug where quick load became disabled permanently.
Understandable thought process there. Okay. Well, time to try it. Oh, they're so smart.
Prepare to inoculate workforce intake hub.
Over here! Ha! No, you don't.
Nah, doesn't seem like you could do anything there. Very likely. There were 4, right? 4 dudes.
Dr. Freeman, I presume. You better hurry. The Combine can be slow to wake, but once they're up, you don't want to get in their way. Dr. Clark said you'd be coming this way.
5 of them.
I don't think it occurred to him that you might not have a map.
Oh, but this store's closed now. What if there was something important over there?
This way, Gordon.
Oh, I appreciate that it lets you do that. Okay.
Alex. Nailing Alex's design was a big challenge. We wanted the player to both respect and care for her. Saving Eli was a key player goal midway through the game, and we knew that getting players to care about that goal would be easier if they also cared about Alex and her relationship with her father. We intentionally designed, wrote dialogue, and cast a voice actor for Alex to be savvy, capable, and relatable within the Combine-controlled world, while also making her attractive and charismatic. We aim to avoid the objectification, exaggeration, and hypersexuality that many games of the 2000s featured, as we felt that would undermine our goals for her character.
I remember somebody saying this when Alex came out. I didn't realize what they were on about at the time, but now I do. The fact that if Half-Life 2 had come out in current day, there would be this subset of people who would just be like, women. It's like, yeah. It really sucks the times we live in, huh?
I'm Alex Vance. My father worked with you back in Black Mesa. I'm sure you don't remember me, though. Man, a few words, aren't you?
NPCs on elevators. We often spend a significant amount of time solving problems that players might not even notice. Many of these are subtle design challenges, while others stem from multiple systems interacting with each other. For example, getting non-player characters to ride in elevators posed a complex problem because it involved various systems, NPC AI decision-making, navigation planning, and movement simulation, to name a few. Additionally, the elevator itself had its own simulation requirements unrelated to NPCs. One of the more subtle challenges came from the fact that we simulate NPCs at a slower rate than we simulate elevators. This meant that NPCs on a descending elevator would simulate to make sure they were properly standing on the elevator, and then the elevator would simulate a few times, each time moving further down the elevator shaft, subtly leaving the NPC behind. Shortly after that, the NPC would simulate a second time and pop itself down on the elevator floor once again. You can imagine that it was hard to take Alex seriously when she was constantly falling down in small increments while talking to you.
Elevator technology definitely feels impressive. Like, I even got that impression back then, to a vague extent at least, even if I didn't fully understand the logistics of it. And even if I can't fully understand the logistics now, I can kind of get what the challenge involved in that.
Interactive storytelling. When we started on Half-Life 2, storytelling in games was generally either high fidelity and linear, or low fidelity and interactive. We knew players had seen high-quality storytelling in games, but they'd never been placed right in the middle of it, able to watch it unfold around them, interact with it, and examine any part closely. While that goal excited us, we didn't yet know how it would work or what kind of technology we'd need to make it happen. We had built a variety of storytelling technology in Half-Life 1, but it was mostly presented in front of the player and lacked the interactivity and fidelity we were aiming for. So Kleiner's lab became the section of the game we used as a testbed to figure out how our interactive storytelling would actually function.
funny you showing up on this day in particular. This way. We've been helping people escape the city on foot. It's a dangerous route to my father's lab, through the old canals.
This lab can fit so many barrels.
Kleiner's Lab. Kleiner's Lab was the first piece of storytelling we worked on, and the one that took the longest to figure out. In addition to its role in launching the player into the game, it eventually became the unifying vision for the development team in terms of storytelling. As we began building our characters and narrative delivery around the player, many questions arose, all of which felt like major risks for the game. Would players be able to extract the important information from the scene? Could we get them to care about these characters? How would we support players with varying levels of investment in the story? How costly would it be to produce a scene like this? And how many more would we need? These and many more were questions we couldn't answer until we'd built enough of the scene and tested it with a lot of playtesters. Frustratingly, unlike many other problems we face, these weren't questions we could confidently answer until we had done significant work. We can often test gameplay ideas with low-fidelity prototypes, but if a player isn't invested in our storytelling when the characters are just gray blocks, how confident can we be that they'll care once the characters are fully realized?
That is a terrifying notion, isn't it? Definitely more of a 3D games issue too. My understanding. I guess there's rough drafts, doodles of characters as opposed to like full sprites when thinking of 2D, but really just feel like a 3D aspect in general. I don't know how much time it takes to fully realize a 3D character, but obviously as time goes on, it gets harder and harder, right?
Choreography. The system we built and iterated on to deliver Half-Life 2's storytelling was internally called Choreo, short for choreography. Early on, we found it useful to imagine we were writing a play where one of the actors didn't know the script. We needed a system that could control all the other actors, moving them around the stage, delivering their performances, and speaking their lines. To handle this, the other actors would need to seamlessly mix our directorial commands with dynamic responses to the player's position and behavior. Timing was clearly going to be a major challenge, as any part of the scene might need to lengthen, contract, or even pause, depending on what the player was doing.
Here, let me buy you a drink. Oh, and by the way...
FacePoser. The primary tool we built to power the Choreo system was called FacePoser, an inaccurately named program that allowed our animator...
Hold on. Alex is talking. Alex is walking.
Nice to finally meet you.
Hold on, where did I save it last? Oh shit.
Here, let me buy you.
Actually, you know what? Let's do the thing first.
FacePoser. The primary tool we built to power the Choreo system was called FacePoser, an inaccurately named program that allowed our animators to lay out the entire structure of our scenes along a timeline. The timeline contained a series of choreo commands for the actors, along with all the necessary information for them to perform those commands. By layering these commands on the timeline, animators could easily describe how an actor might need to face one thing while talking
Sorry about that.
towards another.
Let's start that one over again. Sorry.
FacePoser.
The primary tool we built to power the choreo system was called FacePoser, an inaccurately named program that allowed our animators to lay out the entire structure of our scenes along a timeline. The timeline contained a series of choreo commands for the actors, along with all the necessary information for them to perform those commands. By layering these commands on the timeline, animators could easily describe how an actor might need to face one thing while talking towards another and walk to a different location, all at the same time. But the timeline wasn't a fixed linear sequence. Actors would follow their commands, but they had to respond dynamically to the world around them. An actor might take longer to move to a location if the player is in the way, or they might need to wait to deliver a line because another actor has been delayed by the player. FacePoser allowed us to rapidly iterate on scenes, trying different layouts, dialogue deliveries, and timings. This ability to quickly experiment and adjust proved critical in finding the right performances to achieve our character and narrative goals. FacePoser. The primary tool we built to power the choreo system was called FacePoser, an inaccurately named program that allowed our animators to lay out the
So I wondering if I can pause the subtitle. I just want to read the subtitle, you know. Subtitle, experiment,
for the actors, along with all the necessary
performance
information for them to perform those commands. By layering these commands on the timeline.
So it's funny that it specifies if characters take a while to get to where they are because of what happened last playthrough and what we did this playthrough.
FacePoser.
Oh, and by the way, nice to finally meet you.
No. I want to keep her.
Nice to finally meet you. Nice to finally.
No. All right, hold on.
Here, let me buy you a drink. Oh, and by the way.
Blast that little. Where did she get?
Alright. Maybe I can fix this to be like that.
Here, let me buy you a drink. Oh, and by the way. Nice to finally meet you.
Yep. Take your time.
Nice to finally meet you.
She figures it out if you leave her alone. What if I go this way? So it's like the script forces her to move a little more in line.
Choreo commands. This debug visualization shows the two most common choreo commands actors receive throughout a scene, internally known as look-ats and move-tos.
Oh.
Actors are given targets to look at, sometimes more than one at a time, and then try to focus on the one that makes the most sense given their
Oh.
At the same time, they might be receiving move-to commands, which tell them to move to a location and face a specific direction.
Hold on. I want to see this all play out with that available.
Nice to finally meet you.
FacePoser. The primary tool we built to power the core.
Well, come on. Dr. Cleaner's waiting.
I'm getting my barrels. Please respect. Okay.
Choreo commands. This debug visualization shows the two most common choreo commands actors receive throughout a scene, internally known as look-ats and move-tos. Actors are given targets to look at, sometimes more than one at a time, and then try to focus on the one that makes the most sense given their current state. At the same time, they might be receiving move to commands, which tell them to move to a location and face a specific direction or object. Even these seemingly simple commands involved a lot of complexity. A scene might require an actor to talk while typing on a keyboard, all while looking at an object the player is holding. Since we couldn't predict where the player would be during playback, authoring scenes like this required us to break each element of the scene into separate pieces and layers. These could then be reassembled as needed during playback, based on the player's actions and interrupted if necessary.
Man, Gordon, you
Lab interact.
Choreo commands.
Delivery.
Choreo commands. This debug visualization shows the two most common choreo commands actors
I kind of just want to see the whole
receive,
scene with these.
internally known as look-ats and move-tos. Actors are given targets to look at, sometimes more than one at a time, and then try to focus on the one that makes the most sense given their current state. At the same time, they might be receiving move-to commands, which tell them to move to a location and face a specific direction or object. Even these seemingly simple commands involved a lot of complexity. A scene might require an actor to talk while typing on a keyboard, all while looking at
You
an
missed
object
it.
the player is holding. Since we couldn't predict where the player would be during playback, authoring scenes like this required us to break each element of the scene into separate pieces and layers. These could then be reassembled as needed during playback, based on the player's actions and interrupted if necessary.
Interesting, it's not noting the Lamars.
Strictly harmless. The worst you might do is attempt to couple with your head fruitlessly.
Get that thing away from me!
Here, my pet. Hop up. No, not up there. No.
Choreo commands. This debug visualization shows the two most common choreo commands actors receive throughout a scene, internally known as look-ats and move-tos. Actors are given targets to look at, sometimes more than one at a time, and then try to focus on the one that makes the most sense given their current state. At the same time, they might be receiving move-to commands, which tell them to move to a location and face a specific direction or object. Even these seemingly simple commands involved a lot of complexity.
Okay, I think they're done moving.
If you please, I'm eager to see.
Lab interactivity. In our choreo scenes, we have the player trapped for a bit, allowing us to focus on the characters and narrative. To accommodate different players, some deeply invested in the story, others unable to stand still for more than a second, we felt like we needed a constant stream of interesting details on screen. We scattered narrative elements throughout the environment, ensuring some were interactive, essentially toys for the player to tinker with. In some cases, we embedded further storytelling into these, like the cactus mini teleporter hinting at the upcoming teleporter failure. It was a delicate balance. Too much visual interest could distract players from the core of the scene. Ultimately, Kleiner's lab played it safe with interactivity, as it was the first major choreo scene. Later, in Eli's lab, we explored it more deeply, ensuring the characters themselves paid attention to what the players were tinkering with.
If Dr. Kleiner says you should wear that thing, you should wear it.
Oh, wait. Is that how you break it?
Don't worry, I won't look.
Time to suit up, Gordon.
Not sure how I broke it that one time. Alright, this one?
Delivery. It took a lot of iteration and playtesting to strike the right balance of information and emotional connection in our major choreo scenes. Each scene had a lot of information we needed to convey to the player, but we couldn't just have characters spouting exposition. Players would start thinking of them more as signposts than as people. We needed to take the time to let the characters interact with each other, allowing the player to observe the relationships. At the same time, we had to expand upon the world, giving the player a sense of everything that had happened while they were gone. All this had to be done carefully, without taking too long. We wanted the game to work for players who were less invested in the narrative. Animation became a powerful tool in communicating the emotional connections between characters, often conveying the depth of a moment quickly without overstating it. Humor was another commonly used tool, helping to puncture a setup and disarm the player when things got a bit too heavy.
I always try my best to acknowledge the characters
If you please, I'm eager to see if
in a given
horse
game.
still fits.
I think the urgency with them trying to progress the player along is a little heavy-handed, but everything else works out here well here. Normally, I try to avoid thinking of them as signposts in a given game, though. There are exceptions, though. Sometimes a character will just feel like a literal tool. I can't think of one offhand right now, but I know it has happened before.
Writing. In the Half-Life 1 era, player goals in FPS games were still largely about fighting and defeating an obviously evil enemy. It was hard to get
Evil.
players to care about characters when they were as low fidelity as they were in Half-Life 1. With the planned improvements in character fidelity for Half-Life 2, we wanted to take a shot at making characters the driving force of the narrative. Our goal was for the player's motivations to align with those of our characters, for the player to care about these people, their hopes and fears, and to want them to succeed. With this in mind, we were able to assemble our approach to character.
Lab interactivity.
Oh god, I didn't mean to fucking... Alright, my bad.
Delivery.
Oh my god!
Writing. In the Half-Life 1 era, player goals in FPS games
Sorry,
were
buddy.
still
Sorry,
largely about
Mark.
fighting and defeating an
Laidlaw?
obviously evil enemy. It was hard to get players to care about characters when they were as low fidelity as they were in Half-Life 1. With the planned improvements in character fidelity for Half-Life 2, we wanted to take a shot at making characters the driving force of the narrative. Our goal was for the player's motivations to align with those of our characters, for the player to care about these people, their hopes and fears, and to want them to succeed. With this in mind, we were able to assemble our approach to character and dialogue. We would create a set of characters who liked and cared about each other, hoping that the player would feel the same. These characters would interact in a way that felt inclusive, like a group of old friends who see the player as one of them, just someone who's been away for a while. If the characters demonstrated realistic emotional connections with each other, we believed we could build an emotional connection with the player as well.
It does help. That definitely is something that helps.
The longer you delay, the greater the danger to us all.
Archetypes. We wanted to create narrative links between Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 through our characters. Our idea was to design individuals who felt like representations of Half-Life 1's archetypes, so that players might find them familiar, almost as though they'd met them in Half-Life 1 at some point that they couldn't quite remember. We based Dr. Kleiner on the scientist model we felt was the most iconic, and his personality was largely shaped by Hal Robbins, whose voice and performances had defined the Half-Life 1 scientists. One day, when we were in the thick of trying to figure out this character, Dr. Kleiner's face came into focus as we happened to share an elevator with an accountant from an office on another floor of our building, and looking at him, it was clear that this is Dr. Kleiner's face. Luckily, he was receptive when we asked if we could photograph him for a video game character.
It's interesting because when I reviewed Half-Life 1 again, briefly, I saw...
Dr. Kleiner says you should wear that thing, you should wear it.
There's a scientist that's talking to G-Man before the incident happens, and it looks pretty close to that, and I wonder if that at all is...
Don't worry, I won't look.
Part of the intent at all, even if just barely.
Character reactions.
Out of focus intent.
Figuring out what characters should react to and how was an ongoing challenge. At the core, we always want the game to respond to player input. However, any response from the game can be seen as a reward by the player. So, what characters react to and what they ignore teaches the player about the kind of input the game expects. As a result, we made sure to respond to things we wanted more of, like players tinkering with devices in the lab, and ignored behaviors we wanted less of, like players repeatedly slapping Kleiner in the face with a box over and over again. Seriously, we watched a playtester do it for 5 minutes straight.
I mean, it's really fun to do that. So not having them react to getting shit thrown at them is also part of that.
Come on, Gordon. We don't have time to fool around. Get your suit on.
Make me. Alright, we got more.
Animation. Constructing believable human motion for our characters out of many discrete layers of animation required a lot of technological iteration. Even simple actions like turning to look at something or walking to a location became more complex when combined with the need to dynamically respond to the player and the requirements of choreo commands. For example, turning to look at something had to be fully decomposed, allowing a character to use any combination of its eyes, head, shoulders, upper torso, or full body to face a target. In Half-Life 1, human characters had their bodies separated into upper and lower halves, allowing them to walk in one direction while facing another. However, this approach was too abstract for Half-Life 2's characters. Instead, our animators created walking animations in all 8 directions of the compass, which could then be smoothly blended together at runtime.
Tone. Setting the right tone for our characters and their dialogue was critical. We aimed for a respectful, almost pleasant style of interaction with the player, while avoiding anything that felt too subservient. This balance was especially tricky with Alex, who needed to support the player without compromising the strength of her character, something we felt was crucial for players to respect her. Her relationship with Eli was a core driver of the player's motivations, so it was important that players liked her and wanted to help her. We also wanted to contrast the warmth and camaraderie between the player's allies against the hostilities of Breen and the Combine, inspiring a sense of righteous indignation in the players for the battles ahead.
Despite my interactions with Alex, I do respect her. Wait, what?
Don't worry, I won't look.
Is that Kleinerwin hair? I never noticed that before. Holy shit. Oh my god, how did I never see this before?
If Dr. Kleiner says you should wear that thing...
MP Patrol. Barney. How had I never looked at this board before?
Get your suit on, Gordon.
Alright, are we missing any?
Voice actors. To create more responsive and multidimensional characters in Half-Life 2, we needed to evolve our approach to working with voice actors. While running through a script with a modicum of direction was sufficient for much of the NPC dialogue for Half-Life 1, for Half-Life 2 we decided to give the actors more of an opportunity to be involved in helping to define the characters and bring them to life. We provided much more story context to the actors, showing them the game world, the environments their characters inhabited, and the other characters they interacted with. We sought actors who could take all that information and synthesize it into their performances to elevate their characters beyond what we had imagined. We held multiple sessions with the main actors, allowing them to digest and build upon their characters over time. For scenes where characters are interacting with each other, we'd often cue an actor with performances from other actors in the scene to create a better sense of connection and flow. Though we'd arrive at the studio with a script and a plan for the recording session, we made sure that the actors felt empowered and had the space to bring their own ideas to the character and performances. Having animators attend the voiceover sessions also proved critical, as they were responsible for stitching the characters' dialogue together with physical actions and expressions to form the resulting choreo scene. Often, animators found that their plans for how a scene would play out evolved quite a bit after working with the voice actor.
Definitely the right approach. Just having people read some dialogue is not gonna, you know,
Get your suit on, Gordon.
cut it. a lot of the time. And while these aren't necessarily characters I'm like, oh my god, favorite character ever, like they are, I think they do define themselves pretty effectively. So I think the goal was achieved.
Well, Gordon, I see your HEV suit still fits you like a glove. At least the glove parts do.
Choreo commands. This debug visualization shows the two
I
most
thought we were
common
done with the
choreo
choreo.
commands actors receive throughout a scene, internally known as look-ats
fine.
and move-tos. Actors are given
Oh wait, we can do
targets
this
to look
now.
at, sometimes more than one at a time,
Mutation,
and then try
evolution.
to focus on the one that makes the most sense given their current state. At the same time, they might be receiving move-to commands, which tell them to move to a location and face a specific direction or object. Even these seemingly simple commands involved a lot of complexity. A scene might require an actor to talk while typing on a keyboard, all
Find
while
more
looking at an object
watermelon
the player is holding.
for Lamar.
Since we couldn't predict where the player would be during playback, authoring scenes like this required us to break each element of the scene into separate pieces and layers. These could then be reassembled as needed during playback,
Manifold
based on the player's actions
parameters.
and interrupted if necessary.
Wait, how'd you get up there? Oh, the elevator, that's right. Indescribable salad.
You coming?
And is nigh. The new rock? I think we've seen everything there.
Monitors. We use monitors a lot for storytelling in Half-Life 2 in the episodes. So much so that we even make fun of ourselves for it. The problem is they're just too damn useful. They're fantastic for expanding the world by showing events happening elsewhere, and they provide an easy way to have characters talk without needing to explain how they all got to the player's location. Anyone who's ever written any kind of story, especially one with an ensemble cast, understands the unique frustration of trying to create natural reasons for all of your characters to come together in the same place. In this case, we were really happy with how the monitor allowed Alex to teleport away and then quickly appear in Eli's lab, making everything feel real and connected.
Any more? Two more.
Scene interactivity. At certain points in our choreo scenes, we require the player to take action. Beyond simply giving them something to do and keeping them engaged, these moments served a few key purposes. First, they allow the player to catch up even if they've been distracted by something else in the environment. The scene could safely pause until the player completed the task, ensuring they were back and paying attention. At the same time, it let us position the player where we needed them, which was useful for framing the scene and making sure they saw something important. In some cases, we got double value out of these moments by using them to train the player. Here, they're learning to interact with plugs and sockets, a skill they'll need for puzzles later in the game.
Neat.
Scene interactivity.
Alex's kiss. It's a small moment, but Alex's kiss on Eli's cheek was important. Eventually, we're going to ask the player to save Eli, and we want them to care about him. To build that emotional connection, we needed to show the warmth and affection between Alex and Eli. We didn't want to oversell it with dialogue or make it too big of an event. It had to feel genuine, not performative. And we were able to iterate on the subtleties of this moment until it struck just the right note.
It's right there, Gordon.
Oh, sorry.
Scene.
Excellent.
You gonna let Gordon throw the switch?
Gordon, go right ahead. Very good. Final sequence. Commencing.
Oh, it's a red light now. Kind of the same visual effect that G-Man's thing had at times, maybe adjacent to it.
Well, did it work?
See for yourself.
Hey, Doc.
Thank goodness. My relief is almost palpable.
Fantastic work, Izzy.
Well, I can't take all the credit. Dr. Freeman proved an able...
Is the speaker up there?
Let's go ahead and bring Gordon through now.
Right you are. Speak to you again in a few moments.
I guess
Good
it has
job,
to be.
Gordon. Throwing that switch and all. I can see your MIT education really pays for itself.
All right, Barney. Your turn.
Gee, thanks.
Gordon, as soon as you're in position, we'll send you to Eli's.
And not a moment too soon.
Excellent. Initializing in 3, 2, 1. Barney, if you'd be so kind.
Good luck out there, Gordon.
Yes, indeed. We're ready to project you, Gordon. Bon voyage, and best of luck in your future endeavors. Final sequence. The hell? What is it?
It's your head, the freaking headhopper!
Oh, Lamar's gone. Damn, Lamar went.
It seems to be some kind of interference.
Stay put. You get drowned.
Something's drawing him away.
What's the meaning of this? Who are you? How did you get in here?
Surprised Lamar found his way back home.
Don't worry, Gordon.
There he is. Oh, we're losing it again.
I'm all but certain it was Gordon Freeman. He didn't come through.
Where is he?
Behind you. Shut it down. Shut it down.
Gordon, you must get out of here. Run! Get down out of sight. I'll come find you.
I hate the paparazzi. I hate the paparazzi. Is there not another one? Out here? Makes sense, I guess. Alright. No!
Phonium extraction. Another critical tool we built into FacePoser was the phonium editor. It processed the voice actors' dialogue lines and extracted phoniums to generate basic lip sync animations for our characters.
Oh.
For hero characters, our animators use this as a starting point to create high-quality custom animations for each dialogue line, incorporating full facial animation. However, in a dynamic choreo scene, the animators wouldn't know exactly what the rest of the actor's body would be doing. This meant it required careful
that's a
layering of
good
choreo
point.
commands and timings in FacePoser, while still maintaining the actor's ability to dynamically respond to the player.
Never thought about that, because you're not, like, you don't know, like, even if you know the general sense of the scene, you don't know exactly the movements and all that for your character as a voice actor. Never thought about that.
At the time of Half-Life 2's release, most first-person shooters gave the player a gun or a melee weapon right off the bat, but we opted to start them empty-handed. Without a weapon, it was easier to train the player on the more novel ways they're able to interact with the world and
True.
introduce them to our story. We wanted the player to transition from fugitive to the aggressor, and arming them at the right time created that moment naturally. By the time they finally get a weapon, they're done running away. They say sometimes the best way to win is to walk away, but we all know that's not true. The best way to win is to run towards something while shooting at it.
Or hitting it with your crowbar.
Dynamic mixing. During gameplay, many sounds are playing at the same time, but some are naturally more important than others, and we need to set the volumes of the sounds relative to each other to ensure that the important ones stand out. In a movie, this sound mixing is done as a post-process, but in a game, it happens real-time, responding to the player's actions, so we can't predict ahead of time which sounds will play simultaneously. To handle this, all the sounds are grouped into types and tagged with priorities. Then during gameplay, the audio system monitors all the active sounds and lowers the volume of sounds in a group if a higher priority sound is playing. And this mixing is adjustable. If the gunshots need to be loud in one scene, we can make them higher priority there. If a specific line of dialogue needs to be heard clearly, it can then force all the other sounds to drop in volume. And we do the same thing with music. It's a subtle but very critical system, and it just prevents the soundscape from becoming too cluttered. Bullet audio. If there's one thing we're sure of, it's that a lot of bullets will fly past a player throughout the game. So we spent a bunch of time trying to perfect the audio treatment for it. Unfortunately, bullets in the game are essentially instantaneous, so we can't just attach a sound to them and rely on the movement for positioning. So after some experimentation, we landed on this solution. By figuring out the closest point on the bullet's trajectory to the player's ear, we calculate the exact time and position the bullet would conceptually pass them. We then play two different sounds at that point to fake a Doppler effect, one for the bullet's approach and one for its departure. And we delay the departure sound based on the calculated time the bullet passed by.
That is a lot of fucking science involved, calculating and all that. Very impressive.
Audio caching. Another problem we ran into was the sheer amount of audio in the game. With all the gameplay sounds, music, and dialogue, we had too much audio to be able to store it all in memory. Memory was at a premium in 2003. But as you can imagine, we need to be able to play sounds immediately, especially if they're gameplay related.
Wait, what?
Audio caching.
No captions for this
Another
one?
problem we ran into was the sheer amount of audio in the game.
Okay.
With all the gameplay sounds, music, and dialogue, we had too much audio to be able to store it all in memory. Memory was at a premium in 2003. But as you can imagine, we need to be able to play sounds immediately, especially if they're gameplay related. So we built an audio cache, which stored only the first 125 milliseconds of every audio file and kept that in memory. That 125 millisecond time was our best guess for how long it would take us to be able to stream an audio file in from disk. Then, whenever a sound was played in-game, we'd play the start of it from our audio cache while simultaneously kicking off a load of the full audio file from disk. By the time our cache start ended, we'd have the file loaded and could continue playing the rest of the sound. There were some other minor features, like keeping recent sounds fully in memory so that high-traffic ones didn't need to be loaded constantly. In today's engines, all kinds of assets, beyond just sounds, typically use the same kind of strategy. Audio.
Is it because it's an audio base? It's talking about audio. It wants to be silly, doing a fun. It's doing a silly. It's doing a funny. I guess. I guess that's fair if they want to do it that way, but also literally unplayable. It's interesting to think memory was such a luxury back then, or not luxury. Memory was such a, I forgot the exact words I just used. God damn it. Where it was like premium. It was such a premium, right? I'll put it like that. And now we're stuck with the memes and the jokes of, oh, how did you know PC game we're gonna have fucking 800 gigabyte file size? Like, ugh. They don't care to do these kind of tricks anymore.
Physics sound. Getting physics to feel right for the player meant that the sounds produced by physics had to sound right too. As humans, we're all used to how objects and materials sound during various interactions, even if it's not something we actively notice. While we knew we couldn't account for everything, we wanted to focus on the details that contributed most to making our physics sound real.
Oh shit! God damn it! I was trying to grab the
Getting
dresser.
physics to feel right for the player meant that the sounds produced by physics had to sound right too.
Time to get some physics
we're all
sounds
used to how objects and
for the
materials sound
commentary.
during various interactions, even if it's not something we actively notice. While we knew we couldn't account for everything, we wanted to focus on the details that contributed most to making our physics sound realistic. We started with per-object sounds for collisions and impacts. This allowed an object like a wooden crate to have custom sounds when it collided with other objects or classes of objects. Next, we began dynamically modifying these sounds based on the characteristics of the physical event, such as the masses involved and the force of the collision. This worked great for collisions, but didn't hold up in other interactions like objects scraping against each other. In reality, a wooden crate makes a different sound when it scrapes against a wall versus when it's thrown against that same wall. Let me tell you, nobody has done more research on the nuances of a wooden crate's physical properties than us. To get what we wanted out of these interactions, we implemented per-material collision sounds, metal against wood, metal against metal, and so on. These sounds were also dynamically modified based on details, like material hardness or type of metal. Getting this system to sound right required countless small tweaks, which we could only identify once it was running. We also experimented with custom sounds for rolling objects, but ultimately cut the feature because we weren't happy with the results.
I think I can see what they're saying regarding to that. It's a the specific details are lost on me a tiny bit, but I mean that's probably to be expected with the completely open-ended range of all the kind of sounds you can get out of just a single object, depending on how you interact with it. Which again is the problem trying to be addressed here, right? Okay, I don't think I missed any.
Automating DSP. All the sounds the player hears are processed through our digital signal processing system, or DSP. And this just refers to how audio is altered to reflect the environment the player is in. For example, the same sound will differ when heard in a parking garage, a small room.
Oh, I like that.
In
Okay.
Half-Life 1, we manually placed invisible nodes throughout the world to define these DSP settings for each space. For Half-Life 2, we knew that manual placement was just going to be way too time-consuming, especially since we wanted a larger game, and we still only had one audio person on the team. So we built a system that automatically determines the DSP settings around the player in real time. It does this by analyzing the space around the player, assessing the volume they're within. It examines the materials that make up the environment, basically. And then the system matches that space to one of the 25 hand-authored basic DSP types. We adjust some parameters, and we create the fully detailed DSP that modifies the sounds the player hears.
Oh.
Automating DSP.
That's one I could definitely get a better grasp of.
Processed through our digital signal processing system, or
Very
DSP.
Cool to find out how that all works. Alright, I don't want to talk about. Okay, I got shush.
For example, the same sound will differ when heard in a parking garage, a small room, outdoors. In Half-Life 1, we manually placed invisible nodes.
I like that a lot. I like hearing about shit like that in particular. Who's gonna take it?
Metro Cop scene. This is another scene designed to make it clear that the Metro Cops are the bad guys, except this time the player has a weapon and can finally do something about it. That something comes out of the barrel of a gun. We knew we needed the player to feel righteous, and this moment was part of creating that. The Metro Cops are still human, unlike the rest of the Combine in the game, so we felt like we had to go the extra mile in making sure the player's actions felt like justice and not just wrath.
I don't know. Maybe we're the bad guys. I feel like there are just people out there who perpetually think like that, even in those situations, unfortunately. But you know, sometimes you just got to be that blatant, right? sometimes I don't know. Sometimes the way they do villains in games or in stories in general can be very not great in the sense that there are certain things you could do to like define a villain in such an obvious way that it's too obvious, right? Like you need to I guess you can't have nuance unless you go outside of those norms. Not always, but you know, like, on average, in my mindset. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's my line of thinking right now. But like regarding the villains of Half-Life, it's hard to, since we don't have enough information, it's hard to know if they are villains of intrigue or not. Like, my understanding is that there's an alien race, or no, there was an alien race. We just dealt with them. Now there's a second alien race. May or may not be involved with the first alien race. We dealt with them in Half-Life 1, that is. Maybe there's a multitude of alien races, whether or not they're at odds with each other or working together. And this one was more effective at subjecting humanity to its whims and desires. Probably because Gordon wasn't around. And by the end of the story as we know it, we only know that they don't want anybody resisting. Whatever it is they truly want. Maybe they're just assholes. Maybe they're just assholes.
Staircase.
Oh!
There are situations throughout the game that stem from simple and quite straightforward design goals, and this staircase features two of them. The first was to frame the Citadel as it awakened, showing the player they stirred up the hive. The second was to showcase our ragdoll system. While it's standard now, in 2004 it was still a novelty to see bodies tumble realistically, and stairs provided a perfect stage to make that happen.
Ragdolls and stairs, name a more iconic duo. Dark Souls 1, my beloved.
City 17 awakens. The early train station section was designed to make the city feel indifferent toward the player, as if Gordon is just another nameless, faceless citizen, ripe for subjugation. But during the tenement raid and rooftop chase, the city identifies the player as an anomaly and starts to stir. Now, with the player as the aggressor, the city fully turns its attention on them. The Overwatch PA system, first heard during the raid, played a key role in delivering this message. If players listen closely, there's a lot of information about the city's awareness. Even when players didn't pay attention, though, the audio treatment still conveyed the emotional message we were aiming for.
Yeah, it's interesting how they don't caption that, right? When they caption everything else so specifically. That's definitely a detail that's not meant to be a focus, but more of a, like they said, just the impression that it's there as background noise to convey a feeling.
Explosive barrels. Here, we introduce explosive barrels, a staple of first-person shooters, but with a new twist. The second pistol shot sets the barrel on fire, starting a timed detonation. A third shot will detonate the barrel immediately. This way, players could either delay the explosion or trigger it right away, depending on the situation. Players may want to feed an explosive barrel to a barnacle and then shoot it twice as a handy way to safely dispatch a cluster of them. The delayed explosion also made for more interesting chain reactions between multiple barrels. Exploding barrels were a fan favorite in the series, but also were internally favored by level designers who often felt like the game could never have enough of them.
It doesn't feel the same if you don't have your explosive barrels, right? In the game, in a shooter at least, and to an extent, other types of games. To an extent. Can we just, no, we need the train, right? Okay, this is not that train, though. This is more the train we rode in on, kinda, sorta. But there's the other train, too. The prisoner train.
Lambda caches. Technically, the first Lambda cache is at Kleiner's lab, but this is the first one the player finds on their own. We added Lambda caches to encourage exploration and to hint to players where hidden resources could be found, with the fiction being that they were placed by the Resistance as part of their underground rebellion. In Half-Life, the contents of supply crates were predetermined by the level design. In Initial 2, we introduced adaptive item crates. These give the player whatever they are low on at the time, based on resource targets set by the level designer.
Oh, that's cool. Didn't know that. Where are you going, buddy?
Scanners. Scanners presented a tricky
I did not
game
notice
design
this until
challenge.
now.
While we liked how their dystopian presence helped convey the Combine occupation as an oppressive surveillance state, we didn't actually want them to shoot at the player. We found that aiming into the sky to hit a small mobile enemy with a constant height advantage was something we couldn't make fun. Since we loved their role in the story, we decided that in combat, scanners would serve primarily as eyes, alerting nearby enemies to the player's presence, a feature we reinforced with sound effects from the soldiers. Beyond that, they'd only be able to harass the player with bright lights and occasionally dive bomb after taking enough damage.
I hate them. Hate them so much.
Overwatch. During development, we generated the Overwatch voice using a free text-to-speech tool, but as we neared shipping, we realized we didn't actually have the rights to use it, so we held auditions with voice actors to find someone who could match the qualities we liked in the generated lines. It didn't take long before we found Ellen McLean, whose delivery was exactly what we were looking for. In her sessions, we played the generated lines for her to mimic, though in her own style. She was a bit sarcastic at first, given that she was being asked to replicate such a robotic delivery, but years later when she returned for her iconic role as GLaDOS in Portal, she found a way to creatively integrate that tone into her performance.
Oh, that's GLaDOS? Damn, I would not have known that.
Pistol design. The standard pistol is the workhorse of the game, functioning not only as the first range weapon you learn to use, but also as a method to interact with physics and destructible objects at a safe distance for the entirety of the game. To help make it feel more responsive and fun to use, the pistol employs a refire mechanic that's unique to it in the game. The gun will fire as fast as the player can click their input button, meaning that they feel an instant response to their input, and the faster they can click, the faster they can shoot.
I mean, I can click faster than it shoots, but only a little bit. Only by a little bit. Did I try going up there before? Oh, we're free. Alright, now can we get out of here? No. Alright. Where's the resources? Can I grab it? Here, no I can't. Alright. I'm not gonna fuss. Probably stop soon for now. Might do another session later though. Not sure when the best stopping point will be. Oh my god, how many of you are there? Cut it out. Oh, I forgot to comment, but I really like this idea of making it something of an invisible. It's not like foolproof, right? But invisible wall that only certain people are permitted to pass through, like in the within the context of the universe, of the Half-Life universe. Action sequence.
Shatter glass. When designing early levels where there are fewer mechanics in the player's toolkit, we found that it's just as engaging to spotlight new technical features instead, as we did here with breakable glass. For the shattering effect, glass was divided into a grid of small squares, allowing us to track which were intact or broken, and to blow at larger sections once enough squares were no longer connected. Each square was rendered with a unique texture based on the status of its neighboring squares, creating the sharp, jagged edges between broken and intact glass. While breaking glass is now commonplace in games, it was something we hadn't seen much back when we were making Half-Life 2, and we're incredibly happy with the level of fidelity and dynamicism they brought to the game.
Not sure when the first glass shattering type of game came out, especially on the shooter side. Can't think of it offhand, at least.
Helicopter Peekaboo. The Combine attack helicopter as central antagonist was something we wanted to develop throughout the entire chapter. The relentless chopper became a character in its own right. Here, if you listen and look overhead, you can hear its engine and see it flying along the train tracks and into the distance.
You know, I think I miss that every time.
This is a small piece of foreshadowing, with its presence becoming more pronounced over time, until eventually you're squaring off against it.
Oh, I sniped their asses this time.
Iterative passes. Some chapters of the game, such as the on-foot sections of the canals in Ravenholm, were developed in multiple passes by different cabals. We found that handing off maps in this way led to greater variety in the experience, and a higher density of interesting moments, as each cabal added their unique touches to the maps. In the on-foot portion of the canals, the first pass established the art direction and the player path, along with the broad strokes of the experience and some major beats. But the team-wide alpha playtest identified insufficient tension and a somewhat monotonous experience here. In our second pass, we returned to the map solely focused on creating that tension and greatly increased the density of moment-to-moment scenarios.
Enemy placements and variety? Wait, what? Hold on. Did that just warp into existence? Is it because I was by the doorway? Ha! Alright. Ah, shit. You know what? That's fair. Maybe once we get out of the water. Ah, that feels good. Oh no, the train car! We'll stop in the train car with Bordy.
Water shader. The most complex shader we made for the game was the water shader, which made full use of the newly available programmable graphics cards. When water was present, the scene was rendered 3 times. First, the underwater world for refraction, second, a reflected view, and third, the parts above the water. When rendering the water surface, we blended the refractive and reflective views, showing more reflection at glancing angles using the Fresnel equation. We also tracked the ground depth below the water's surface, making it more transparent and less refractive in shallow areas. Additionally, we had to create 2 alternate water rendering techniques for lower-end graphics cards. Mid-range cards displayed a lower detail reflection without refraction or transparency, while low-end cards only rendered a partially transparent surface.
Oh, here we go. Cancel. Hold on. Oh, God. And let's put it back on. Ah, I see. I see. Now it's easier to see it when you're adding to it than subtracting. One is always one of the most easily noticeable and impressive things. I don't know why, it just is, and I'm not sure if it's how deserved it is to have that reputation. And I don't know if that's just for me, but it does always impress in Marvel. Just the way, what you can pull off with that.
Interstitial scenes. As playtesting progressed, we often found areas where players lost track of their goal, which isn't uncommon in a game like Half-Life. To address this, we added smaller interstitial scenes to help guide players along their path and reinforce their objective. After finishing the bulk of development on our larger choreo scenes, like Kleiner's lab, putting these smaller scenes together became relatively straightforward. We discovered that using characters in these moments worked much better than relying on passive storytelling, or even some sort of reminder you'd find baked into a pause menu.
The Half-Life approach of having just a bunch of no-name NPCs for you to interact with, giving a feeling of as opposed to like just having NPCs wandering around in general, or have very specific characters consistently show up. Like we do have specific characters now. We did not have that in Half-Life 1. Or opposing force for the most part, right? And then Blue Shift had a couple minor instances, but yeah. It does help with the Half-Life narrative of fighting for the people, because you're fighting for the various people that are innocents or civilians or on your side, so to speak. Even if they are kind of similar faces or faceless figuratively, but all share kind of recurring models and whatnot. That is kind of, you could interpret it as like your impression, like not many people are going to just remember the faces of every rando they pass by, right? But the fact is that you can acknowledge their existence in that way, and even if you're not the one, even if Gordon's not talking, there are words to be shared, and you get to understand the general atmosphere of what you're fighting for and who you're fighting for in that regard. And it's not something that really is common for games to do, at least not the ones I've played. Normally they try to attach faces and names, so it's a fun little breath of fresh air and deviation from story these kind of campaigns and games.
Good God. Guess those sirens are for you, huh? Good thing you found us. You're not the first to come through here by
This is the Freeman. The Combine's reckoning has come.
The Freeman.
Look, we're just a lookout for the Underground Railroad. Main station's right around the corner. They'll get you started on the right foot. Meanwhile, let my Vortigaunt friend here give you a jolt to get you going. Be careful. We really can't afford to get noticed. Civil protection catches you down here, it's bad news for the whole railroad.
We serve the same mystery.
Boxcar Joe. This small scene originally featured 2 human characters, but later in development we replaced one with a Vortigaunt. We wanted to show that Vortigaunts were coexisting with humans, and
that was extremely perceptive, and that was just good, incredible foresight to make that change.
Resisting the Combine as well. We also introduced their ability to heal the player, though we didn't fully capitalize on that feature throughout the game. Vortigaunts became a useful narrative tool for keeping dialogue brief, as their hive mind justified their full knowledge of the world and the player's goals. This meant they never had to ask questions, neatly sidestepping the challenge of writing dialogue for a silent protagonist.
And with that, we'll call it for now. So, silent protagonists in general always, I don't know. It's hard to. Okay, yeah. Let's. It's always hard to consider how to do that, or if you care to do that. If you care to acknowledge, oh yeah, the protagonist is silent. Like, do they have a character to begin with, or are they just a player avatar? And how do you write around that? Definitely thoughts I don't dwell on too hard normally, but Deltarune in particular makes me want to try to at least put some thought into the silent protagonist aspect. And playing the first two chapters of Deltarune alongside Fire Emblem Three Houses was such a contrast because like the silent avatar there does have dialogue options, but like the characters don't really react to them beyond like an initial, oh, you said this thing, okay, anyways. And it's like, if you're able to write around that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If you're able to write around the silentness of a protagonist, you know, props definitely owed because not everybody can, not everybody should. But at the same time, maybe you just don't want to do that to begin with, and that is understandable. But in that same way, I feel like if you don't want to do that, you should just try to not involve the character as much as possible and just let the story and the characters do their own thing while you play around that.